Hello there and welcome to Faith Filled Reads. I'm Christina and we are going to read some books together here in the month of August. So let's chat about what those books are. But before we get there, let me just mention that when I say we are going to read some books together in the month of August, it may include or may not include the books that I'm sharing in this video. Now, I'm saying that because, I know me and I'm not exactly good at sticking to a TBR. I'm very much a read what feels right in the moment when I'm picking up a new book type of person. And that could be these books that we're going to talk about in this video. They will be the books that I go to first, but they could be completely different books entirely. What I can guarantee is that the majority of the books, if not all of the books that we will read together in the month of August and in future months, will be faith-based Christian reads, because I am leaning into my faith a lot more, and that includes what it is that I'm choosing to consume. Now, I'm not going to say that there will never be a non-faith-based book talked about or read here on this channel or shared, because there is power and impact in books that are not specifically Christian as well, right? And there might be some books that I want to read and maybe provide some insight, because if you are newer in your faith or wanting to grow your relationship more with God, it might be good to have some insight about some of the things that may or may not be good to be putting into our hearts as followers of Christ in terms of what it is we choose to read. But like I said, for the month of August, we will have some lovely Christian reads that I'm going to mention here in this video that I will be choosing from, but there could be some other books as well that come in here that just are not talked about in this video. So let's jump into what books I am hoping to read here in the month of August. So only 3 of the books that I'm going to talk about are here physically with me. The other books are going to be on my Kindle Unlimited, and I'm chatting about a total of 8 books here in today's video. So the first book that I have on my list is called The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House. I know nothing about this book. I went to a Christian store that is about 30 to 40 minutes away from where I live, and I saw this book. The cover is pretty to me. Like I like that green color and the gold, and it feels vibey and kind of suspenseful and mysterious, and the title is also intriguing. So I figured, hey, why don't I go ahead and pick it up? I got it actually quite a few months ago. I don't remember, but maybe 6 months ago or 5 months ago. I don't know. But it was a few months ago that I picked this up, and it's just been sitting on my shelf. And I figured, hey, now that I'm ready to get back started into reading, and since I want to lean more into reading Christian books, why not make sure that I put this book that I randomly picked up from a Christian store on this list. So I'm not usually one to read the back of the book. I like to go into books completely blind. I think for the purpose, though, of this video and probably future videos when I'm talking about books that I want to get to, it would probably be helpful for you if I do read the back or some type of summary about it. So I'm doing this for you. Gonna read the back of the book and tell you what it's about, because I have no clue. It says, it is 1901 when clockmaker and tinker Sidney Forrester receives a most unusual inheritance, Blakely House, the island estate of an estranged uncle she's never met, seems almost alive, revealing and hiding its secrets at will. It is filled with remarkable inventions, including an intriguing, unfinished automaton Sidney is itching to get her skilled hands on. The estate is also home to a number of peculiar people, including 2 men intent on removing this interloper from the island. Convinced that Sydney has something to do with their uncle's death, the late master's nephews contest the will and work against their cousin at every turn. Sydney finds a sometimes ally in the estate's butler, an ex-adventurer who ran aground on the island years ago. But when a mysterious man washes ashore with a stunning surprise that upsets everything, Sydney must prove that she has inherited the late master's brilliance as well as his property, or someone else will. We've got mystery, we've got intrigue, we've got some familial rivalry and suspicion of intentional death. It sounds nice. I'm looking forward to reading through that and seeing what comes of it, and I think that's going to be a good one. So we'll see. Stay tuned. I'm pretty confident I will get to this book. It sounds really good. The next book that I have here physically is a big one, but I'm not planning to read this entire book in the month of August. In fact, this is comprised of multiple books. It is the full Chronicle of Narnia series. Now, bear with me. I know. Why is she, talking about, what is this, middle grade or something? I happen to love middle grade, so you will probably see some younger stuff on here because, hey, then I can offer you recommendations for the child that's within you, right? I love C.S. Lewis. I think that he is a powerful Christian writer and contributor to the body of Christ. I've never read the full Chronicles of Narnia series, okay? I don't know why I struggled saying Chronicles of Narnia series, but what have you. I've never read the whole thing. In fact, the only one that I've ever read is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I've read The Lion in the Witch in the Wardrobe so many times in my lifetime. Since about the age of 9 years old, I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe every single summer until I was, an older teenager, like 16 or 17. Yeah, I know. So I've read it several times. That's the only one I've ever read. I absolutely loved The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. However, when I was reading it as a youth, if you will, I wasn't reading it as an allegory. I wasn't looking for common themes and parallels between Aslan and Jesus Christ. I was just reading the story. So I think now is a great time for me to pick up the full Chronicles of Narnia series and really dig in to see the messages and information that C.S. Lewis presented in his work as this allegory of the life of Jesus Christ. And I'm really excited about that. So I'm hoping to get to The Magician's Nephew in here in the month of August, which is the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia, I think. Hold on, let me just double check. Yes, it is The Magician's Nephew. And I see that it's only like 100 pages in this book. The writing is not, too tiny. Yes, we have some big pages going on, but the font is not too tiny. Like, it should be something that I can get to. If I remember correctly, I know that these books have always been like rather thin, and I know the copy of the Chronicles of Narnia that I've read over and over, which is very old. I should find it sometime. Maybe when we get to reading this, or when I get to reading the actual Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Did I see the Chronicles of Narnia a moment ago? I think so. The copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe that I have, it's like super old, but I absolutely love it. It's the copy that I've read, in my youth for those, 7, 8 years or something like that. So maybe I'll show you guys that when I get to it, if I can find it. It's somewhere around here amongst all of my books. I'm hopeful that I do actually get to it, and I think that it's August, we're getting into the fall and wintry season. There's a lot of wintry and like just elements that really suit reading it at this time, even though I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe every summer. But that's just because we went to visit family in Miami every summer, because school was out. So that's why. It's a 4-hour car drive. I needed to read books. Okay, I wasn't really an atmospheric reader at that time, and I don't think I am still. I digress. It'll be nice to pick it up and then, each month moving forward, hopefully keep on reading through it and probably write down some notes and kind of have it correspond to some of the Bible study that I'll be doing too. And then the last book that I have here physically that I'll be reading this month, this one I will be reading for sure, mostly for sure, like 98% positive I'll read this one, is House. And this is by Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker. I have actually already started this book, so we've got a whole reading plan set up and all of that it's gonna take almost the whole month to get through, right? Because we're buddy reading, and that's totally fine. We've got a little bit to read every day up until I think it's like the 25th or something this month. Yeah, I mean, I'll read this one because it's good to stick out with him. I realized that I didn't read the back for The Magician's Nephew, but that's because it doesn't have that on that whole big volume of the Chronicles of Narnia. I could look it up on my phone if you want me to, but we'll see. But I do have the back to read to you of this one. Again, it's called House by Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker. It's apparently a mind-bending supernatural thriller. So it says, Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker, two of the most acclaimed writers of supernatural thrillers, have joined forces for the first time to craft a story unlike any you've ever read. Enter House, where you'll find yourself thrown into a killer's deadly game in which the only way to win is to lose, and the only way out is in. Sounds like giving our life over to Christ. Those of us who choose to die for Jesus' sake shall live, right? I don't know if they intended that parallel. Probably, I'm not sure. The stakes of the game become clear when a tin can is tossed into the house with rules scrawled on it. Rules that only a madman, or worse, could have written. Rules that make no sense, yet must be followed. 1 game, 7 players, 3 rules. Game ends at dawn. Sounds pretty good, and I do like the writing so far. I did already start this as of this morning that I'm recording this video. Today is August 2nd. So I did already start this, and I like how it's written. It's super easy to read, and it's a quick read. I know that it's going to take most of the month to get through since I'm buddy reading it, but it seems like it would be like something I would probably eat up really quickly. So if I like this one, I've not read anything by Frank Peretti or Ted Dekker. However, if I like this book, I will look and see if there are any other books that they wrote together. And I will also dig into each of their individual backlists as well, because why not? I love supernatural thrillers, and the fact that they are Christian authors and that's what I want to read is amazing. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to read this one. So the rest of the books that I'm hoping to get to here in the month of August are going to be on my handy dandy Kindle using my fabulous Kindle Unlimited subscription, because your girl is not trying to buy a whole bunch of new books at this time. We're trying to cut back on expenses, not create more of them. However, if there are any Kindle Unlimited books that I read, and I know I'm definitely going to read it again, I am going to be buying the book. But that's much better than just going out and buying them. And I will also be getting a library card at some point. So stay tuned. I'll take you with me. So the first one that I'm going to be reading on my Kindle Unlimited is called A Place to Belong. I honestly picked this book just because the cover looks super cozy. Got some nice vibes on there. I guess it's part of the Willow Creek series. And I guess that's 4 books. I don't know anything about it. Let me look up the back. So it says, after a heartbreaking breakup, Sammy Thomas returns to her Texas hometown where she discovers new purpose running her grandmother's church pantry while navigating romance and fate. So it sounds like it's going to be super cute. I love me a little hometown, small town. I mean, I don't know if it's a small town, but hometown, small town-ish vibe, romance, and, combining faith, her running her grandmother's church pantry. Like, it feels like it's going to be absolutely great for reading. And again, like I said, I picked it because of the cover. It's so sweet. Like, I love that. Like, look at the vibes, and it just feels like it's just right for this time of the year, just getting into those, more warm and, cozy vibes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one if I get to it. So remember how I said that the books that I'm reading in August are all going to be Christian? I was incorrect. I guess I lied to you, not intentionally, but I forgot that I had this one on my list. I honestly have no clue what other books are on my lists. That's why I have them written down on a notebook in my lap, okay? Especially because I don't have them physically with me. But I forgot that I added this book to it. It's called Call of the Camino, of the road, the street, if you will, right? I think. I'll look it up to make sure that that's correct. But I added this because I read a book by this author last year, and it was called In an Instant or something like that. And I loved that book. I actually think I'm going to read that again this fall. A great telling of moving through grief and loss and what that looks like. And the way that she crafted the story and showed that was really amazing. I had no clue what that story was going to be about because, again, usually I go in blind in any book that I read, and I was very, very pleasantly surprised with what I got out of that book. And I do think I'll read that again, and it will probably be here on this channel that I'll share about it because, again, not all the books have to be specifically Christian for us to be able to pull something amazing from it. So I'm going to be doing Call of the Camino as long as I get to it. It has super high ratings on Amazon, 4.4 on Goodreads. It has a 4.4 or on Amazon, sorry, 4.6 on Amazon, 4.4 on Goodreads. It's literally written right here in front of me, but I can't read it. I don't know what's going on. But I will read the little blurb, the synopsis here. It says, two women walk Spain's Camino de Santiago pilgrimage route in different decades, one seeking closure about her father's death, the other fleeing her past. So it looks like we're going to get some more insights from her about loss and grief, and then somebody is fleeing her path. I'm going to probably really enjoy the dual timeline here and all of that. Yeah, we'll see what we can get from this book when we get to it. The next book on my list is another C.S. Lewis book. This is more of his commentary style of books that he wrote, and this one is The Great Divorce, a very popular one by C.S. Lewis, and I'm excited to get to it. If you're not familiar with The Great Divorce, the blurb says, a thought-provoking journey from hell to heaven, exploring the human condition and the choice between good and evil. From what I understand, there are some folks that are in hell, and a bus comes to pick them up, takes them over to heaven. They get a chance to explore, look around, and then the bus comes back, and those who want to go back to hell can choose to go back to hell. The ones that want to stay in heaven can stay in heaven, I imagine. And one would ask, well, why would you choose to go back to hell? My thought is because it's probably pretty challenging to be more like Christ and be able to stay in heaven. But we will see what C.S. Lewis says in his writing. I'm definitely looking forward to getting to this one. And I think it's going to provide us with so much insight and all of that. It says that this is a starting point for an extraordinary meditation upon good and evil, grace and judgment. I think it's going to be a really, really good time. The next book that I have on my list is called But There Were Signs. It is a Christian suspense. It's supposed to be a nice fast-paced thriller. It's supposed to be a part of the Pastor's Wives Club suspense series or something. So this is book one. If I enjoy it, then I'll pick up another one, and I'll let you know if I think that you guys should too. It has pretty good reviews, 4.6 here on Amazon and 4.4 over on Goodreads. So we shall see. This one says, four pastors' wives turn amateur sleuths to investigate their friend's suspicious death in Appalachia, uncovering dark secrets and racing against time before the killer strikes again. Okay, we'll see. It sounds pretty good. So yeah, I'm excited to get to that one if I do here in the month of August or whenever I do actually get to it. And then finally, the last book on my list is called Don't Give the Enemy a seat at your table. This one is one that I recently heard about and I was immediately intrigued to read it. It's going to help offer some insight into staying away from allowing the enemy into your life, into your heart, and creating those openings for where the enemy can lead us into a life of sin or following through on temptation or things of the world in the body instead of being rooted in Christ. It says here, Louis Giglio offers biblical guidance rooted in Psalm 23. The Lord is our shepherd. Am I right? To help readers break free from negative thinking, recognize destructive thought patterns, and reclaim peace through scripture-based truth. I think that this is going to be really, really fun to pick up. Here on Amazon, it has a 4.8 star rating, and that's with over 9,000 reviews. On Goodreads, it's sitting at a 4.3 with over 17, almost 18,000 reviews. So it must offer some good insight. I'm looking forward to reading that one. I am going to probably, allow myself to take my time with it, even if I don't finish it in the month of August. I do think I'll for sure get it started here in the month of August and probably take notes, do some annotating, even though I'm reading it in my Kindle. I'll probably do some highlights in there and then write notes. If I really enjoy it, again, I will let myself buy a copy of it and I'll probably want to read it again, to be quite honest. So those are the 8 books that I'm hoping to get to here in the month of August. Let me know if you've read any of these books yourself before, or if there are any that you definitely think that I should try to prioritize here in the month of August. I'm looking forward to sharing my reactions to these books and my reviews of these books and all of that here with you as the month goes on, and any other books that I might choose to pick up as the month goes on as well. Here on this channel, I'm going to be doing a couple of different types of content. We'll see. It's all going to be reading related and maybe some Bible reading as well, because that is probably the 9th book that I should have on this list. I will still be reading my Bible as well here in the month of August and every month moving forward. Yeah, I'm going to test out some different things, see what works, what feels good, what you guys like, what makes sense. And yeah, so if you're into that, if you want some nice faith-based Christian reads, or just reads that are impactful and make us think, feel things, teach us some lessons, and help us grow closer to God, make sure that you go ahead and get subscribed to this channel. I would absolutely love to have you here, and I'm looking forward to learning and growing with you along this journey. Thank you so much for watching. Cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye.